Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining me wherever you are joining me. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. And joining me, if you're joining me on the YouTube channel, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Another great episode, another great weekend. Man, gratitude is never difficult when the cup seems so full, right? Gratitude is never difficult when the cup seems so full. Is everything in life perfect? Absolutely not. Everything in my life is not perfect. But man, is it awesome when you get an opportunity to see things that seem perfect. I had a chance this weekend. I had the honor this weekend of watching my good friend Josh Tebby get married. And he got married to a beautiful woman, an awesome soul, a kind woman, a beautiful woman, somebody that I believe to be his perfect match, right? I don't believe anyone's perfect. I know I'm not perfect, and I know nobody out there is perfect, but I believe everyone has a perfect match. And I do believe that he has found his perfect match. Man, it felt like everything that had a chance to go wrong could go wrong. And yet you never saw it on their faces. Like you never saw, like it was an outside wedding. There was um rain on the horizon. How much rain? Who knew? Um Rain on the horizon. They said, hey, we're getting tense. Get there, rain starts from a little trickle to an all-out downpour. They've got umbrellas for people. But never once did I see him look upset. Did I see her look upset by it? When she's walking down the aisle, this absolutely gorgeous dress, this little itty bitty thing, and her dress is dragging because the train is wet. You know, it is what it is. It's the elements. They're going to thug through it. Never once seemed flustered, never once seemed bothered by it. I saw people at the wedding that were more bothered by the elements than they seemed to be bothered by the elements. And then they afterwards they went and did the pictures thing, you know, and I'm sure there were struggles, there were issues there. But by the time they got back to that reception, which was still outside, and a dance floor that's essentially underwater, it was nothing but fun and smiles and love and laughter and good times. And they were the ringleaders. It wasn't like they spent their time just sitting back behind the bride and groom table, just watching. They were active participants. They were moving around. They were shaking. It was fantastic. And when you get a chance to see a friend have an evolution like that, you know, to go from what we were in our mid to early 20s, mid 20s, mid to early 20s, like to go from what we were and how we were in our mid 20s to now, almost 20 years later, to see him stand up and watch the visible emotion on his face as he watched his bride to be walk down the aisle. I wish that for every guy out there. I wish it for every man. I wish it for myself. I wish it for myself, but I wish it for every man out there. Everyone everyone has the, everyone should have the chance to feel the level of positive emotion that he felt standing up there waiting for his bride to walk down walk down the aisle. I know that Stephanie did, I mean, so much work to try to make the day the best that it could ever be, and it was epic. It was great. The elements be damned. It was awesome to be a part of it, and it was awesome to be a part of love. You know, man, it's so much like awful stuff out here in this world right now, out here in our country right now. It's so many terrible things, that to be able to engulf yourself in something that's so positive and so loving and so giving and so real, it's great. It's chicken soup for the soul, right? It's chicken soup for the soul. And so salute to my guy, Josh Tebby. Salute to my girl, Steph Tebby. And this is not, I don't even look at this as being the beginning, but it sure as hell is not the end. It's going to be a great ride that you guys are taking. I hope that I can be along for some of the adventures, because that's really what's been awesome to me, as an adult, as a responsible adult, is to be able to have experiences with friends. That's been my most joyous times in my life, is to be able to have shared experiences with friends and with family. And so I look forward to many more of that with those two. And it's crazy, because such positive emotional things out there are always coupled with such negativity, because we know what happened at the Kansas City Chiefs championship parade. And to think about how something can go from being so happy and positive and uplifting to being so sad and demoralizing and scary, all in a blink of an eye, because somebody had to do something stupid, because somebody wanted to do something stupid, because somebody wanted to do something that didn't make any sense, because somebody wanted to be violent, because somebody wanted to be aggressive, because somebody wanted to show that they were big and bad. And for me, that's never really seemed like it was that serious. I mean, listen, I'm aggressive, right? I'm not passive aggressive. I'm aggressive. I joke, and it's an honest joke, that I don't really have a fight. I'm a fight guy. But that doesn't mean that it's just okay to resort to violence for everything. And I don't even know what the origin of why there was this mass shooting. But I was talking with some friends at Josh's wedding, and they live in Australia now. And the one thing she said is like, man, I'm never in a rush to get back here. Every time I look up, there's another mass shooting. And it's like Russian roulette. It's only a matter of time until it directly affects you, until you're right in the crosshairs. And to think that in this thing, most of the people to get physically harmed from this were children. Like, who were you aiming at? Why were you aiming at them? What did these kids ever do to deserve this level of trauma? Right? But we're human. We're human beings, and I'm not here to talk about just that. But I did want to talk about something, because this idea that we get to control how everybody operates under grief is ridiculous. A lot of the news that came out after the wake of the shooting was that Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes both went out after the events. I saw people killing them for it. People were talking about how insensitive it was. And my question is, what did you want them to do? What would have made it okay for you on how they processed what happened at an event that they were at, but didn't happen anywhere around them. This happened at a parade with millions of people there. It didn't happen where their motorcade was, where they were going by. They were most likely intoxicated already because they just won the Super Bowl, because they're celebrating the Super Bowl. So they're already intoxicated. They probably already have plans. They already have things going on. Are they supposed to just like go home and sit there and look sad? Like, what is the proper protocol for what to do when there's a mass shooting somewhere around you? Were they not supposed to be hungry anymore? Were they supposed to just go home and sit in silence? Is it their fault that all of you see what they're doing because they are really because they're really popular, because you care about trying to live vicariously through these other adults? Is that their fault? Or is it your fault for expecting them to behave in a manner that you behave because you're not them? Because we don't know what you would do if you were them. I am pretty sure that a lot of people left that event, went out and had drinks, went out and had dinner, went out and had a good time. You want to know why? Because they should be happy that they're alive. Because one person never got to leave that parade. Why do we insist on meeting tragedy and meeting heartbreak and meeting negativity with more tragedy and heartbreak and negativity? Anytime there's something negative in my life, I immediately hit it with something positive. If I break up, if I'm in a relationship with a woman and I break up with that woman, I do not sit around and wallow in the breakup. I break up. If there's a breakup that happens, I don't worry about the end. I focus on the duration of the relationship and all of the fantastic things from that relationship. I take it, I internalize it, I put it in the pocket, I pull the jewels from it, and I move on. I'm not going to continue to combat negative and put more negative on it. That's how depression happens. When we get buried under so much negativity, under so much anxiety, over so much angst, that we feel like we can't lift it off of us. Love is always going to be stronger than hate. Love is always going to be stronger than any violent act. That's why violence has to work so hard. That's why violence has to work so hard. That's why we feel so tired when we get angry, because anger takes more energy to hold up, because it's not who we should be naturally. So I'm not mad at Patrick Mahomes. I'm not mad at Travis Kelce. I'm not mad at anybody who went and continued to enjoy the life that they should be thanking God to have, that it wasn't their life that was taken away. I'm applauding them for being able to push through. You don't think they feel bad about that? You don't think that in their mind somewhere they feel some level of culpability? Hey, if we would not have had a Super Bowl parade, that person would still be alive right now. Those kids would not have the trauma that they're going to have. These people will not have a long-lasting, horrible memory to deal with. We got to stop finding all of the negatives in the positives that we see. We got to stop compounding the negatives on top of the negatives that we experience. Another example, the NBA All-Star Weekend was this weekend, and NBA All-Star Weekend has always been my favorite All-Star event.
Ms. Duff, please come to.
The All-Star Weekend has always been my favorite time. Why? Because basketball is a sport that I love, right? And I'm going to get into the All-Star Weekend, but I have some notes from some things. Number one, Shannon Sharpe and Mike Epps got together and pieced it up. They did it without like a video. They did it without cameras on. I've seen Shannon Sharpe in real life. Shannon Sharpe's a big dude. He's probably a little bit shorter than me, but he's a big dude, right? He's a strong dude, but he's an old dude. He's old, right? Mike Epps is not young, not a big dude. Here's what I'll say about the entire situation. Mike Epps was telling jokes. He was trying to get laughs. And in telling jokes and in trying to get laughs, you take the truth and you stretch it, right? So he said some stuff that wasn't true. And then he said some salacious stuff. Shannon Sharpe acting as if he was upset that Mike Epps claimed that he called him about being on his show or that he texted him about being on the show is crazy. But what's even more crazy is for Shannon Sharpe to go on a public platform and threaten that man. I'm coming to see you. In other words, it's on site. Keep that same energy. And then Mike, very wisely, right? Because I really do believe this is Mike Epps that brought the peace, not Shannon Sharpe, right? Not Shannon Sharpe, because Shannon Sharpe is here for the messy. Shannon Sharpe has built the Club Shay Shay platform on messy. He did it when the Cat Williams interview went viral, right? When the Cat Williams interview went viral, it signaled it's time for messy, because messy is what got me 100 million views or whatever the ridiculousness is of that video with the amount of attention, money, views that it got. This is why people do mess. This is why platforms have messy elements to them, because that stuff sells. And so off the back of that, every single interview now is somebody kicking the back end of somebody else. He's here for the mess. So he was like, it's my chance to have my own mess, have my own beef. And he threatened that man. Make no mistake about it. He threatened that man. Yo, when I see you, I'm going to put these hands on you. Let's see what you do then. Two things that he forgot. Number one, Mike Epps is from the hood and has never really moved or strayed from the hood. The man bought the hood. Number two, the All-Star game is in Mike Epps' hood. So Mike just so kindly reminded him, bro, if you're going to be there, I'm going to be there. Holla at me, right? Holla at me. Talked about the fact, hey, you big, you strong. I'm not. So we gonna fight on a fair level. You gonna try to fight me, I'm gonna shoot you. That's essentially what he said. I'm not condoning violence, but Shannon Sharpe brought the violence. Then once Mike Epps once he matched it with calm, because see, it's the calm that tells you somebody's serious. It's not the rah, rah, rah. that Shannon Sharpe was doing. That's not what it was. Like, I looked at that when I read it, I was like, oh yeah, he talking for the cameras. Because even if he wanted to go and do that, he got way too much to lose to do that. He's got way too much to lose to do that. So I knew he was capping. But I also knew that when Mike Epps responded, Mike Epps was not capping. This was not hyperbole on Mike Epps. He was ready and willing to engage in whatever it is he was talking about. And if he wasn't, then the people who love and care for him in Indianapolis, they were. And you have to be careful about that when you start putting all of these idle threats out there. So that's how, in my opinion, that's how All-Star Weekend started. Shannon Sharpe understanding it was probably smart to piece it up. It was probably smart to just let that go. Then everything started. The celebrity game. I don't know when it became so difficult to get celebrities to do the celebrity game, but they got to do something about that game. Right? They got to do something about that game. And the idea that the NBA invited Chris Brown and then uninvited him because of like a sponsor or something, possibly like pulling out if Chris Brown came. Like, to me, I just don't understand it. Right? And this is the portion of the show where I feel like I am going to be defending like men in a way that might not be cool for some. But I just have to tell what I feel is the truth, right? So here's my thing. Chris Brown, in 2009, I believe it was, had an issue, a domestic violence issue with Rihanna. And since 2009, even though he has had lots of success, he has never been able to ascend to the level that his trajectory was on from back in 2009. Like, he has to live with that, right? He has to live with that. That's a decision that he made, whether you feel he was justified or not, based off of the situation that we know that we're not going to even bring up. But he's been paying a penance ever since then. A lot of his music gets kind of shadow banned, where it's never promoted the way that some other music is. He has always been looked at in a negative light from people who don't know him, don't know anything about him. There are a lot of sponsors that won't rock with him because of it. But this is 2009, I believe. Like, what's the statute of limitation before somebody can show you that they're better? And is he perfect? Has he had situations or issues? Yeah. But, like, I think he's trying to live the best life he can. We keep acknowledging that when you make these people world famous and millionaires as teenagers, that they have some semblance of flaws. We keep seeing documentaries about people and how tragic their life was because they received fame and money at ages where they were not prepared to deal with it. And yet, seeing that, knowing that, we still don't harbor any level of of sympathy, any level of forgiveness. Like he can't play in an all-star game? He can't play in a celebrity game during All-Star weekend. That's really going to mess up some chip company's ability to make money because he played in an NBA All-Star game? That's going to really mess up the brand of the NBA because he played in the All-Star game? Obviously not. We don't have to give fake support to causes. We could give real legitimate support. So it's crazy that he's still having to deal with it, but comes with the territory, right? You make a bad decision, it's going to haunt you, or it could haunt you for the rest of your life. Sabrina Ionescu participated in the WNBA NBA crossover, where they had a 3-point shootout. It was her and it was Steph Curry, and she had a very impressive 26 points, but ended up getting beat by Steph Curry, who had 29 points. And Kenny Smith, a guy who has advocated for women's sports, who has spoken out about how instrumental women's sports are in our society, someone who has a daughter that he is proud of and supports in every endeavor that she does. Kenny Smith said in the comment, she should have shot from the women's line. And immediately, women started killing him without even understanding what he was really trying to say or what he was really saying. He didn't try to say it. He said it. We don't have to interpret it. But let's break down what he's talking about, right? Number one, Steph Curry shoots from the NBA three-point line every single day. That's what he does. That's how he prepares. Sabrina Ionescu does not shoot from the NBA three-point line every single day. Where does she shoot from? The WNBA three-point line. And even if she does step back and take deeper threes, the three-point line that she practices from every single day is the WNBA three-point line. So if he's saying she should have shot from the women's three-point line, that would have been more fair. How is that a diss to her? It's the WNBA versus NBA crossover. She chose to shoot from the NBA three-point line. Why? Because she wanted it to seem as if, oh, it's just shooting. Okay. Did she use a male ball? Did she use the men's ball? Right? Because I don't understand how we have to make everything a negative. We have to try to pull the negative from everywhere. Like why does that always have to be a thing for us? At the end of the day, she competed. She kicked butt. But she was not playing by the exact same rules as everyone else. Unless I'm misinformed. And if I'm misinformed, somebody tell me. If I'm misinformed, someone let me know. But it looks like that the balls that she was shooting might have been WNBA balls or might have been, smaller women's balls. Maybe not, though. Maybe not. Right? So the technical side is she shoots from the women's line. That's the line she practices from. She might hit that many. She might be able to take down Steph Curry. But as I watch the replays of the three-point contest, I'm looking at the balls that she's using, and it has a WNBA logo on it. So if we're really talking about equality, if we're really talking about being on a level playing field, she should shot with the men's ball if she's going to shoot for the men's line. How about this? How about this? When the WNBA has their All-Star game, have Steph Curry come for the rematch and have him shoot from the WNBA line. Right? Have him come to her world. Because what Kenny Smith is saying is it's not about Sabrina Ionescu. It's not about anyone. His praise for Steph Curry was evident in his comment about Sabrina. Hey, she did that good. Imagine what happens when you put her on the WNBA three-point line. His little jab at her is respect. It's not diss. Because when he tells when Steph Curry beats the dudes and he says, "Oh, you got to spot everybody 3 to 5 points before they play Steph." That's a jab, but that's a respect because Steph Curry is that good. Everything isn't oh my gosh, it's 1 step forward, it's 2 steps back for women. It's that it doesn't always have to be a competition where we say we're gonna find a negative in it. That's what we've gone to, victimizing everything. Now we're about to make Kenny Smith a villain. Now Kenny the Jet has to be a villain because he said that she should shoot from the line that she actually shoots from all the time. Make it make sense. How, Sway? Kenny Smith has supported women and women's basketball and women in sports and empowering women and seeing women up there. He's not allowed to make a comment that's true. He can't make a comment that's true. Oh, man, they missed a lot. I saw Sue Bird wrote they should have had a woman up there commentating because they missed a lot of nuance. Hey, guess what? You know what women do in basketball a lot when they get up on those stages? They miss a lot of nuance. They miss a lot of nuance. Don't act as if the guys are the only ones missing the point. I watch the WNBA religiously. I watch it. I hope to write about it. I love it. I like the women's game at the highest level almost more than I like the men's game nowadays because they still go to the paint. They still got real legitimate bigs out there. I like the women's game more than I like the men's game at a lot of times. So you ain't gonna get me with this whole, oh, he would have, man, I listen to the broadcast. I listen to women who are broadcasting miss all the points. I've watched the Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi cast where they're not giving us the insights at the same level as Peyton Manning and Eli Manning are giving in their cast. The little actual technical tidbits. I've watched it. They miss it too. So to sit and act as if they say inappropriate stuff. Is it okay if they say inappropriate stuff or stuff where they diss a woman because they're women? The ultimate respect shown in sports is when we stop being afraid to criticize someone because they're a woman. I talk about this all the time with Mina Kimes. She would be so much more than what she was if people would allow her to be criticized from time to time without feeling like they had to all come and destroy whoever brings the criticism her way. Just let her handle it. Let her grow from it. Let her get better at it. But we don't. We don't. Every time there's a slight in somebody's mind, they turn it and blow it up into a big story. Then we have to have a back and forth, a battle of the sexes interview on it. Now we got to talk about it. Now everybody that is a female advocate feels as if they must come to the defense of the female for whatever it is, even if it's something that's not really that big a deal. You want to know why she should have shot from the girls line? Because it's Steph Curry. If it's Dame Lillard, guess what? Don't shoot from the girls line. Because you're just as good as Dame Lillard is, apparently. Right? You're just as good as all the other ones. But that guy is different. And that was the point that Kenny Smith was making. That, yeah, you shot from the dude line. You murdered it. It's great, but it's not enough because whatever point total you put up there, Steph Curry, is coming behind you, pause, and he is going to make whatever the number you made, he's going to get over that. Because that's what he does. Because he's that level of competitive. He had no intentions of ever letting you beat him. Because he has no intentions of ever letting anyone beat him. So every advantage that you get, you got to take it because that's what's going to beat that guy. It's not a diss. It's not a diss. Hey, why are we not talking about the fact that for what she came out of college as, she has not been that in the WNBA. She came out of college as a one-woman wrecking crew. She hasn't been a one-woman wrecking crew in the WNBA. She's been a good player, but not like a transformational player, not a she's the next coming of, or she is going to be the standard. We don't know if that's going to be Caitlin Clark's situation. We know it wasn't Kelsey Plum. Kelsey Plum, and I love Kelsey Plum. Oh my gosh. Love me some Kelsey Plum. But when Kelsey Plum came out of college, I was like, I don't know what they're going to do with her in the WNBA. And you know what they did to her in the WNBA? They learned her. Yeah, you can be good, but you ain't going to be you ain't no Asia. Right? Like, not everything is a diss. Sometimes it's just the truth. Shout out to Kenny the Jet, right? And I know that Kenny Smith will let that roll off his back. He'll continue to support women in basketball. He'll probably make an apology comment that's really not necessary because that's what you have to do now. But it's unfortunate. And it's also unfortunate that the All-Star game has become so ridiculous, right? It's unfortunate that the All-Star game has hit in a place where you can no longer watch the best basketball players in the world just play basketball. Because now it's just a glorified shoot around. But for as awful and as ridiculous as the basketball game has become, it's still not as worse. It's still nowhere near as bad as Major League Baseball or the NFL or the NHL. None of that is entertaining. People will say, oh, well, baseball still has the best All-Star game. Man, I have yet to ever get through an entire Major League Baseball All-Star game. Because it's let's play everybody. In a situation where you really shouldn't be trying to play everybody. Like, when we talk about things and, oh, we got to do what the NFL does, the NBA doesn't have to do what the NFL does because the NFL's All-Star game, there's violence involved. is a real easy way to fix it. And I don't understand why people don't talk about it, but it's an easy way to fix the All-Star game. It involves two things, right? The first thing that you need to do to fix the All-Star game is give them more time off. And don't have the All-Star game hit right at the end of one side. Give them more time off, right? And end the time before the All-Star game that Sunday. Give them the week before All-Star weekend and give them the week after All-Star weekend and start back up that next Sunday. So essentially 2 weeks off from the All-Star game. You got the All-Star weekend. On that weekend, that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So they would get 5 days, or they would get 4 days off from that Sunday, right? They would get Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on, and then they would get 7 days off, or 6 days, or whatever it might be, from there until they get back to playing that next Sunday. You want to know what that would do? That would give people who are hurt a legitimate opportunity to heal. It's going to make your product better after the All-Star break. What it also will do is it'll give the people who are involved in the All-Star break just enough time off to miss playing basketball. To say, hey, I need to get some legitimate work in while I'm on this 2-week vacation so my skills don't erode, right? Well, they're going to play hard anyway. Why not play hard in an NBA All-Star game? So that's the first thing you do to correct the mistake or to correct the game. The second thing you do is put big stakes on it. Money talks. Money talks. And yes, these people are multimillionaires, but you know what they're never going to shy away from? The opportunity to make more real money. And you know what's out there? A lot of real money. How many All-Stars are there? 15, 12, whatever it is. Give the winning team $1 million each. Give the winning team $1 million each. Or let's say the winning team gets $20 million. Winner take all. Losers get nothing. Winning team gets $20 million to divvy up between the players and the coaches and whatever, you know? Like, put real stakes. Put real stakes on it. Make it to the point where the players have no other choice but to play hard because, it's just too much money at stake. Right? It's just too much money at stake. And then let them go. It's a pride thing. Allow the pride to come back. And that's how you fix it. Is it ever going to be what it really should be? Maybe not, but it could be better than what it is. And not for nothing, it's still way better than everything else. Infinitely better than everything else. Not even close. We can fix this. It's an easy fix. The All-Star game is not broken. The people running the All-Star game need to get their stuff together. I'm going to leave y'all with this. I was listening to the new Justin Timberlake song, Selfish, is a bop. I love it. And I started seeing somewhere that people were trying to say that Justin Timberlake is trying to sound like Justin Bieber and like Nick Jonas. Do I need to remind you people that this is how Justin Timberlake has sounded forever, except for in that Man in the Woods album? This is Justin Timberlake. He birthed those dudes. You know what I don't like? I don't like that every time these whatever you want to call them, Gen Zers, anytime they have something or they see someone that's older than them do something that sounds like someone that's hot for them right now, they assume that the older person stole the sound. Just go back and do your research. Go back and do your history. Justin Timberlake's been doing this thing forever. The Blue Eye Soul is beyond Justin Timberlake. But that sound, that feel, that vibe, that bop, that is a Justin Timberlake vibe. That is a Justin Timberlake bop. That is a Justin Timberlake sound. Put some respect on that man's name. Right? When it comes to Blue Eye Soul, he's been the standard bearer for the last God knows how many years. He's not the original, but he's been the standard bearer. So you ain't finna hit me with no, oh, Justin Bieber and Nick Jonas. And I love Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber has an insane voice. I was listening to Justin Bieber sing a SZA song. He was smoking that thing. He's going to make all the money when he decides he wants to really kick it back up. You know why? Because he was making all the money beforehand. And all the people who loved, all the women who loved him when he was a teeny bopper, guess what they are now? They're all adults with disposable income. Shout out to Justin Timberlake. And shout out to all of y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Talk Spicy. We do this thing a few times a week. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, whatever you do. Keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on the YouTube channel, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Till next time, peace.